Hello and welcome. While Christopher Reeve will always be remembered for his role as Superman and Clark Kent, he shrewdly diversified the type of characters he portrayed across almost 50 television and film productions. The film he made immediately after the original Superman movie was a romantic period piece with British star Jane Seymour called Somewhere in Time. In the late 80s, he had a particularly busy time where he made 4 films back-to-back. Street Smart opposite Morgan Freeman and Mimi Rogers, followed by Superman 4, then switching channels with Burt Reynolds and Kathleen Turner, and then The Great Escape 2 with Judd Hirsch and Ian McShane. In Street Smart, he plays a journalist caught faking a story. In Switching Channels, he's a wealthy love interest of Kathleen Turner's TV reporter, and in The Great Escape, a World War II Army major. He could never be accused of being typecast. I'd done a TV interview with Chris back in 1980 in his apartment, just after he'd finished Superman 2. But then in 1988, it was on a phone call I had a chance to chat with Chris about Street Smart, Superman 4 and Switching Channels. And as he portrayed a magazine reporter forced to lie about a story, I began by asking him about his attitude to American media and their regard for truth and accuracy.
American media, the morals of the American media here?
It depends on what kind of a story they're covering. If it's hard news, like American ship attacked by Iraqi Exocet missile in the Gulf, they tend to be very fair, very thorough, and really get the story right. When it moves to entertainment or politics, then the fiction comes out, and what often happens is, I think television news is made by producers, not by reporters. And what I mean by that is that the producer has a packaging idea of how a particular subject matter will be useful to him in a newscast, and gets his reporter to make that subject matter fit in a certain way that will make an overall package or program seem interesting. And that causes a lot of distortion. And you can, as a reporter, then you've got to go out, and you're not really serving the truth or serving, the facts. You're serving your producer. And entertainment personalities, politicians, are particularly vulnerable to this kind of packaging. And I just think that, reporters often will, finish doing an interview with somebody and think, God, if only he'd said that, my story would play better.
Yes.
And pretty soon you start putting words in the person's mouth. You get him to say, well, he should have said that, or he would have said that if I'd given him another 5 minutes, or whatever. And you get into these gray areas of interpretation. And, even in major magazines nowadays, the story is not written by a reporter who was there. The reporter gets the facts, and then somebody sits behind a desk and writes a story who wasn't even on the scene. So I think that that the media, to a certain extent, is guilty as charged.
Have you, over the years, have you been a victim, do you think?
Everyone has. Everyone has been a victim of packaging and of being exploited in some way. It's just some actors don't even care. They figure, get your name in print, what the hell. But I'm one of these sensitive types who I really get upset when they write lies. Or when they don't bother to check the facts, or just go ahead and print any kind of rubbish. It makes me very mad.
But have you been a victim, though, of the television news coverage at all?
I'd have to go digging. I'm not burning from any wounds at the moment.
Right.
So I can't remember. But I'm sure over the years there have been some digs that make me pretty mad. Yeah.
Are you happy with the performance in Street Smart?
Well, I don't like to give grades to anything. That's one question I really hate to answer about any film. I don't like to have to turn around and say in public what I thought of my own work. I don't think that's my job.
Right. Well, fair enough. But although a lot of actors instantly respond with, "No, I'm never happy with my work."
That's one answer, but that sounds so negative. I'm happy with Jerry's job in the film. And I guess I would answer by saying I'm happy that I didn't compromise the character by making him more appealing. I quite deliberately allowed him to be weak, insensitive, morally corrupt, and ambitious, because I think that it's very true. true to life.
Mm.
And again, it's another acting choice, not a movie star choice. I mean, the safe movie star choice is always go out and make them love you. Be wonderful.
Exactly.
Be somebody wonderful. I mean, that's the Robert Redford approach to life.
Right.
And some mechanism in me won't allow me to do that. I mean, it's fun. Listen, next film, it'd be great to get the girl, and have wonderful love scenes, and I look forward to doing a love story, and I'm sure that'll happen very soon. But I'm intrigued by all kinds of character traits in people. I don't think it's my job to have to go out there and just play somebody wonderful all the time. And this is not in comparison to Superman. This is the way I would tick, even if I'd never heard of Superman.
Sure. No, I understand exactly what you mean. Mm-hmm. Speaking of Superman, I'm quite intrigued the fact that you've actually written or wrote the basic story or co-wrote the basic story for the new.
Yeah, to put it all in completely legally correct terms here, I'm the co-author of the story for Superman for one of the second unit directors, and I had a lot to do with the casting and quite a bit to do with the final cut. So that's really my contribution.
Well, quite considerable then.
Yeah.
So what did you, in your mind's eye, before you started to do it, what did you want to present Superman as in part 4, if you like?
I think what we wanted to do was get back to the magic, the larger-than-life escapism, the sense of wonder, the sense of 70 millimeter extravaganza that we kind of lost on the third one. I think by degrees the movies have become scaled down, and in the third one in particular, it was very small potatoes. Really, it was I think below the standard of what a Superman film should be.
Well, I think certainly from a fellow who as a kid was a terrific Superman comic reader and so on, you moved further and further away from the original myth, which was so important, I felt.
Yeah, but I think it's most importantly, it's been a stylistic shift, which came with various changes in producing and writing and directing teams. And I don't want to lay blame anywhere. It's not fair. But I think that let's put it this way: the tongue-in-cheek approach, the sending up of Superman, is extremely easy to do, and you can do that on Saturday Night Live. You can do that on any number of forums. What is really hard to do is to send it up straight and somehow oddly real, to make the audience go wow instead of giggle.
Yeah.
I think outright laughter is great, but the laughter of being with the character instead of mocking him.
Sure.
And so that was the main intention, was to get back to, to get the audience to say wow again, to get them to really be caught up in it and impressed by it. So we needed an important event to be worthy of Superman's attention, and we found it in the idea of him acceding to a school kid's request to rid the world of nuclear weapons. And that's basically what it's about. It's called Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
Oh, it's got a subtitle. I didn't.
Yeah.
The Quest for Peace. So, I mean, obviously, it was an opportunity as the co-author of the story for you to make some heartfelt statements, I imagine.
Yeah, well, I would say this is the most personal, but I don't mean that it's mine. I just mean that in it, I say things and do things that I would like to see Superman do. I mean, I feel that I've been kind of Superman's PR man for the last 10 years, if you will. And I just I think I've gotten a very good chance to he's doing things I think he ought to be doing in this film. And so I haven't seen the final product yet, so I don't know how it came out, but I know a lot of very, very good intentions went into it.
So, I don't want to blow in the storyline, but just can you set something up? What happens? How does the kid find you? What do you then set out to do?
Well, it's pretty much that. I mean, that he receives a letter from. It's at a time of a superpower summit. In fact, we worked on the story. It was around the time of the Reagan-Gorbachev meeting in Geneva in 1985. A class in school is talking about the arms crisis and what to do about it, and apparent stalemate, etc. And a kid is literally doodling in the back of the class, and out of left field, he kind of says, "Why doesn't Superman, if he's so great, why doesn't he just get rid of all these weapons? Everybody seems to want a world without nuclear weapons. Why don't, but they don't do anything about it." And the kid writes a letter to Superman and care of the Daily Planet, and finally, after a lot of soul searching, he agrees to this request, and the story kind of takes off from there. But I really can't get into it more than that.
No, that's fine. How do you think the very strong pro-military industry in America is going to react to it, and the lobbyists and so on in Washington?
I think they'll look on it as cartoon entertainment, and it'll just go right over their head.
But do you wish it didn't?
Yeah, that'd be nice. On the other hand, you have to remember this is a very naive movie, and it is only that. It is really we're kind of expressing in an action entertainment movie a kind of noble sentiment, I suppose, that people the world over feel, that wouldn't it be nice if somebody could just come along and rid the world of one of its major problems. But you can't stop to really analyze the political consequences of any of this. You can't make it real, because we have to come out of the movie theater and face the same world that we went in, that existed when we went in.
True, but at the same time, surely, I mean, films, and a successful film, is an extremely powerful form of propaganda. And
right. Well, what I think can happen out of this is that the point that I think I cared the most about in making the film was that what Superman would like people to see is that the world is a global village, that the world is Smallville, and that we're all citizens of a tiny little town called Earth. And if we could just realize that, things would be very, very different. And that realization is the key to our progress in the future. And he's also pointing out that there are other planets, other galaxies who are waiting for us to evolve to their level and are waiting to communicate with us. And pretty soon we could join them if we could just grow up and stop throwing stones at each other.
Did you get any flack from people in the industry, or indeed involved with the production of the film, with considering these sentiments, or saying to you, "Look, don't, you're silly to try to put this sort of thing on the screen"?
No, nothing but 100% support and then some.
Excellent. Because there seems to be, this prevailing cynicism that it's all very well to dream about all of this, but that can never become a reality.
See, but even if people, don't forget that children everywhere on this planet see a Superman movie. And if they, if all the 8-year-olds of the world see a film like this and begin to feel that Russians aren't strangers, and, why should we arm ourselves against Chinese people or whatever, or why, it's on an emotional level. It's very subtly, if children can feel that we're all connected and keep that feeling, or talk to their parents about it, you're doing something worthwhile.
I couldn't agree more. I think that's excellent, actually. I've got a kid aged 9 and another one aged 7, and they're Superman fans, and of course they're going to see it, and I hope that's how it works for them too.
Yeah.
I'll certainly be bolstering the sentiments.
Kids growing up without fear and without prejudice is probably and then that's what Superman is about. He's a gentleman. He's peaceful. He's a leader rather than a show off. I try to put in a lot of very understated, very subtle, very kind of self-deprecating qualities in him, and I think that's a good counterbalance to the kind of Rambo role models that kids see in other countries.
I couldn't agree more to that either.
And also, Superman movies are very deliberately non-violent. You'll see that nobody gets killed in the Superman movie.
Is it too early to even think about the possibility of you doing another one and possibly directing that one?
I don't think I want to. The simple answer is I don't think I want to spend that much time on one project. I have a short attention span, and I don't think I could concentrate on a whole movie for it would take like a year and 3 months out of my life.
Right.
And I think that's too much. But Having said I'll never do it again after part 3, I obviously look foolish doing part 4, so I shouldn't really make any predictions.
Fair enough. Can I take you back to switching channels?
Mm-hmm.
How? I mean, given that the film is part farce and I suppose part satire in some sense as well, how does your character fit in? I mean, are you playing it quite straight, or are you part of the humour of the film?
Yes, I'm part of the
Actively?
humor of the film by being straight. I'm a guy who apparently is really terrific. I mean, I'm kind of sending up the GQ cover, and apparently he's Mr. Perfect. But the more you get to know him, the worse it gets. I mean, he's like, you ever gone on vacation and you find the ideal, and then you bring her. Well, in our case it'd be her, but in girl case it'd be him. Bring the partner back to the real world, and somehow they just don't. They don't transplant very well. So this is a guy who's great on vacation, and you bring him back to the real world, and he doesn't do so well. He's really very vain. He's very, and the problem is that he doesn't need her, and she finds that out, and at the last minute she's spared. But it's just fun. I mean, I think he's a wonderfully ridiculous character. But I'm not playing him ridiculously. I'm playing him as being, as real as I can make him.
Right.
And therefore, I hope he's pretty funny.
Right. It's a great cast, of course.
Mm-hmm.
How's Kathleen coping? I mean, she must be 3 or 4 months pregnant.
She's 14 weeks now. She's doing great. She doesn't show it all yet. She's got plenty of energy. She's a real trooper. She goes all out all day. And
she's not pushing it too far, though, is she?
No, we've tried to slow her down a little bit. I mean, earlier on, she was running across lawns, and she has to tackle Henry Gibson at one point. She had to, go out in the middle of a lake in freezing water in a canoe at another point, and nearly tipped over. I mean, she's very gung ho, and I think she's just great.
And obviously a joy to work with.
Oh yeah. I mean, maybe we'll do a movie where she'll go for me sometime.
Right. Speaking of which, do you have another film to move on to at this stage?
Well, everything's kind of in limbo because of the strike that's going to happen July 1st.
Yes, of course.
And there's only a handful of movies starting up in the fall. I'm on the trail of a couple of things, but the only thing I'm doing for certain is that I'm going to direct a film in April next year.
So you are going to direct?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So,
what's that?
It's a film called Family Album.
Right.
It's about a couple that meets again 10 years after their divorce, and it's a very, it's a very emotional piece about divorce and marriage.
And obviously, you'll simply be directing and not performing in it.
Right. I mean, we're having discussions about that, but at the moment, the way I see it is that I would just direct it.
Right. Who's that going to be for? Which studio?
That's HBO.
Oh, for HBO. Well, it's just simply going to be a tele-movie, or will it get theatrical release?
It would get a foreign theatrical release, and it would be on cable here in the States.
Right. Oh, that's interesting then. Well, isn't that a 15-month commitment for you?
No, that's shorter. That's like I would say, well, on and off, but I can do other things. And while I'm shooting it, I mean, it's just like a 45-day shoot, and then it'd be probably a 6 to 8 week edit. It would take up most of the spring and summer.
Right.
But it wouldn't take a year.
Right. Who's written the script?
A lady named Maureen Earle.
That doesn't ring a bell with me at all.
I don't really know her other credits either. But
right.
So that's in the works as well for next spring.
Oh, right. Well, you've got plenty ahead of you.
Yeah.
But, sadly, Chris did not have nearly as much time as he nor us could have imagined or hoped for. His final acting role was in 2003-04 as Dr. Virgil Swan in 2 episodes of Smallville, one of several TV spin-offs from the Superman legend. However, Richard Donner, who directed the original Superman the movie in 2006, did a recut of Superman 2, in which we see a little more of Chris and other stars and other changes, which has been much acclaimed by fans around the world.